Hi there, you join us on the edge of the Nevada desert, just a few miles away from the California state line, where we're preparing for Heat 3 of the World's Strongest Man competition. This is the Wild West. Before the wagon trails came through, this was the home of the Paiute Indians, who used to spend their summers down here and their winters up in the mountains. Now though, Nevada is probably best known as one of the few places in America where gambling is permitted. Our men aren't intending to gamble away a place in the final. 12 months of hard work and dedication have led to this. So here's Paul Dickinson to introduce you to them.
Thanks very much, Philippa. Now look at this, total isolation. And it gives us a chance just to reflect for a moment on what happened during the course of the first two programs. Two major shocks, in fact. First of all, the four-time champion, Magnus Magnusson, and then Riku Kiri, who finished second last year, both failing in their attempt to make it through to the final. And so on to Heat 3, a chance to see one of the most experienced men in strength. South Africa's Gerrit Badenhorst, along with 5 other contenders, to see if they can hit the jackpot, a place in that final. They all take part in 4 different events and score as many points as they possibly can. You get 6 points if you win an event, 5 for second, all the way down to a single point for last place. And the top 2 scorers, they are the ones who go through. Well, this heat is becoming a problem. It's sapping the energy of these men as they push and pull these massive weights. Let's meet them all now. Starting off with the man I mentioned earlier, he finished 3rd in last year's final in Mauritius. Gerrit is one of the most talented athletes I've ever seen and should start as favourite here. The South African is one of the real characters of the strength circuit. Ginaud Dupuis of Canada's experience at this level is rather limited, but he's a firm believer in his own ability to compete well and to win. Fellow Canadian Paul Lepik is a former world powerlifting champion and returns with more confidence for a second attempt at the World's Strongest Man title. Heinz of Germany is very big indeed. A former finalist, when he's on form, he can perform with the very best in the world and beat them. Magnus Samuelsson just failed to make the final last year and was devastated. The last 12 months have been totally focused on winning here. Like Magnus, Dutchman Berend Veneberg missed the final in Mauritius by the skin of his teeth. Once more he's back, looking stronger than ever.
We start with the arm-over-arm pull. Now, take my word for it, you don't go to Las Vegas without hiring a limo. And for this show, we've hired 3, but this is no joyride. Imagine even attempting to pull these. They weigh around 3,000 kilos each. Anyway, we thought we'd at least show them what the inside looked like.
If you wanted to put extra pressure on the competitors, this would be a great way to do it. Just stay in the car while they're pulling. This is going to be a tough event.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one for me especially, because this is all back to arms and grip and hands and things, which is a weakness of me.
Now, you're one of these guys who's got incredible strength in the hands, the arms and the shoulders. Is this first event going to be a good one for you?
Yeah, normally it's really good.
6 points?
I hope so. Would be really good, and then I could sleep well.
Now, some people are saying that this heat could be the most difficult of all to qualify for the final. Do you see it that way?
Yeah, that's the way I say it. It's like almost impossible to have a single clue who will win it.
So could Ginaud Dupuis be the one? Everybody here is fascinated to see how these guys get on with the giant limos, and they weigh over 8 tons in all. This is a daunting prospect for the Canadian and the rest. The back, arms and shoulders supply the power. The limo's away to a smooth start. The man behind Ginaud there, just making sure the rope doesn't get in a tangle. Now, Ginaud believes in mind over matter and will have to draw on all his reserves here to keep the pressure on and make sure those cars keep moving. He's certainly trying, but the wagon train is coming to a grinding halt about 5 meters from the finish. He can't get them going again. That's a real baptism of fire for Dupuis. And the marker will be placed on the course for the rest to beat. Gerrit, not a great fan of this event, as you've already heard. Paul Lepik trying to pick up some tips. At 22 stones, though, Gerrit Badenhorst should be able to get those cars away to a good start. Now, Gerrit's greatest strength is in his legs, so he's trying to make them work as hard as possible.
He's got into a very, very good rhythm indeed, and fast approaching Dupuis' marker. The man from Bloemfontein in the Orange Free State is having to work really hard. But like Dupuis, the cars are slowing down, as if somebody has put the brakes on all of a sudden. The time is not really an issue here. He's got 90 seconds to complete the course, but I don't think he's going to last that long. They've come to an absolute dead halt. He's a couple of meters behind Dupuis, believe it or not. He was right. This was not the event for him, and the measurement will confirm he's in second place.
You weren't looking forward to that one at all, were you?
No, I'll be home early this year, I think.
You think so?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
This is only the first event, though.
No, it's going to be... It's very hard to go from last place, because I think this is the last place.
Well, it's early days, but not a confident start. So, it's over to Paul Lepik, who's underway. And Paul is really a muscle man. His background in the gym to produce a massive physique. Very softly spoken, but when he's competing, he really explodes into action. There's his wife, Natasha, and son watching Dad at work. Straining every muscle in his body. Dupuis still the leader, watching every turn of the wheels. He's getting close to Badenhorst, but he's almost reached the same sticking point. So after the early acceleration here, there's another athlete who's run out of steam. That's enough for Paul in third place with some big guys to come. Magnus Samuelsson next. 6'6" and just over 20 stones, with arms which look rock solid. Now he's got long levers and he must use them effectively. A long, slow pull first, but now he's speeding up the rhythm. There's plenty of aggression from Magnus, and he's really flying now. For a big man, he's got a great heart. That's vital here. He's approaching Paul Lepik's marker very, very quickly. Now for Badenhorst. He's obviously tiring, but he keeps the cars moving. Wife Kristen getting pretty vocal. She says he can do it, and he's not far short. He's certainly in the lead now. It's so close to the finish. Oh, yes! 46.6, and that's a great start for the Swede. A terrific start. Heinz Ollesch realising how good that was. What an explosive performance. By contrast, Berend Veneberg some 6 inches shorter, but still weighs 20 stones. That's 140 kilos. But follow that by Samuelsson. The limos stretching away down the course, about the equivalent of 6 normal saloon cars. Now, Veneberg trains every day of his life in his own gymnasium, but how on earth do you prepare for something like this? He's coming out of the stripe zone, moving ahead of Badenhorst and Lepik. Sylvia, his wife, and can you believe it? They're on their honeymoon. But I think Berend is stopping. But he's inched his way into third place. Now then, the last competitor, Heinz Ollesch, fancies his chances in this competition. He's the heaviest of all the men at 150 kilos, so that's certainly going to help with the first pull. He really is putting his back into it and putting some speed into those cars. He's really attacking it. He wants to get this over and done with as fast as possible, but he has got a remarkable time to beat. Samuelsson's 46.6 looking absolutely invincible. And almost inevitably he's slowing. He's still got some work to do to get into the big points. That's Bryndis, his Icelandic girlfriend. He's not going to beat Magnus, that's for sure, but he looks safe for second place. And Magnus assuring him he is, so a bit of an anticlimax for the finish, but Heinz is good for second place.
Maybe this will finally be the year for the Swedish power which Magnus is so proud of. Let's hope so. At the moment, it's between him and Heinz.
So far, Heinz, we're keeping to the schedule we were planning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What schedule was that?
Win or second, first 2 events.
Yeah.
Refused to lose in last 2 events.
This event was in the final last year. It is, unfortunately, the one which makes the men look like chickens just because of the way they have to walk. Now, these casks weigh 300 kilograms, which is about the same as 3 15-stone men. So the guys have to pick up the structure and walk around and around in a circle for as long as they possibly can. So for this event, they need fast legs and lots of upper body strength.
And the competitors in reverse order from the result of the last event, so it's Paul Lepik to go first. Philippa, absolutely right. The legs have got to get round very quickly, and the arms, chest, shoulders and back have got to be very strong to support a weight equivalent to 4 15-stone men. And that is remarkable. Breathing with that bar across your chest must be very difficult as well. But I'm sure it's going to be the arms that give out first. He's nearly at 1 complete revolution and struggling, and down it goes. Just over once round, 391 degrees. Gerrit Badenhorst up next. Perhaps a little under his best than in previous years. Magnus, 6 points from event 1. Now, this has to be better than his first effort. He gets away well. And look at the muscles in those thighs. They're like tree trunks. He always gets great support wherever he goes. And Paul sees him edge closer to his mark, going towards 1 fell revolution, and he's going to stroll past Paul Lepik. This is much better from Gerrit Badenhorst, but the bar is getting a little lower on his chest. 1.5 times round now, but slowing up, and it's going to go down. Doesn't seem too impressed, but that is a good score. Oh dear, he needs some oxygen back in those lungs, and the measurement, 608 degrees. That's quite a good lead for Gerrit Badenhorst. Berend Veneberg next to go, and like Gerrit, needs to go well. Now, one thing this Dutchman has in abundance is determination. I think he's going to like this one. Big, strong legs again, and a grip like a vice. Easily round halfway, and Sylvia there encouraging him once again. It's important to have somebody to tell you how you're doing. Over 360, past Paul, and now for Gerrit Badenhorst's mark. He looks as though he's losing his grip, though. He's desperately trying to clasp his hands again. Back on the move, but it is a real struggle. 608 degrees the target. He's getting very, very close. Oh, he's gone past him. But that was agony. A great effort and totally drained. He's in the lead.
Ja, maar dan kan not breathe anymore. The last 5 meters, not air meer. And it's almost you go like this and try to fight.
He fought very well, didn't he? And Dupuis here is a fighter too. It's Canada once again. Well, he's very experienced in the world of strength, but I'm not sure he's encountered anything like this before. Slower steps than the rest, but it's very, very steady. But you can see how low the bar is. Oh, now that's a surprise. Just over half a circle and it's gone. Dupuis in last place. The top 2 now, starting with Heinz Ollesch. I wonder if they can keep the top 2 spots after this. The reigning champion, merely a spectator. Well, there's lots of strapping and chalk on the arms and hands to make sure the grip is solid. And he's moving very well. The load of 880 pounds is making rapid progress. Approaching 1 revolution and going well is the German. A little bit of a stagger. It's looking so awkward. Now Heinz is slowing up. He's not quite up to Badenhorst's marker. And he's really coming to a grinding halt. That is very slow, and he's gone down. What an effort. And Heinz in 3rd place with 1 to go. Veneberg is still in the lead. The big Swede, Magnus Samuelsson, now looking for double top. He was brilliant in that first event. Referee Dougie Edmonds about to send him away. And he does seem to be carrying it quite low, but after all, he is 2 meters tall. This is the guy that broke a competitor's arm in an arm wrestling competition a couple of years ago. He's very tough and strong. He's taking quite short steps, but he is approaching 360, and that's good. If you can get round another three-quarter turn, it's another 6 points. He's really going for it. He's certainly got them in his sights. Oh, this looks ominous for Veneberg. Kristen's standing on the spot that he needs to get to win it. And it looks as though he's got it. Yes, he has. Top of the class once again. And Mrs. Samuelsson is delighted.
Wow, emotional scenes, but Magnus has improved 100% on last year, and all that dedication is showing.
It is also an advantage to go last, because you know, we can always walk one extra step if you need to.
Now, there's no doubt who's in first place in this heat at the moment. You've won 2, you've got 12 points, but second place is looking very interesting.
Yeah, but we're only halfway, so maybe only got 14 points when it's over, you never know.
Well, that seems highly unlikely if he keeps up that sort of form. Even at the halfway point, it seems the rest are just fighting for second place.
Now some shade for the men by the poolside here at the Prima Donna. For the Flintstone lift, a long competition, we join it halfway through. Each man has 5 lifts, so careful weight selection is vital. It's a game of tactics.
Ginaud, Dupuis.
So Ginaud attempting 341 pounds, 155 kilos, in what I suppose is the closest we're ever going to get to a traditional weightlifting event in Strongest Man. Like the clean and jerk, it's up to the chest and then above the head with arms straight.
No!
Oh, the first movement is a bit ragged and he can't hold it. Now again, if possible, no! It hits the dirt. Paul Lepik now with the same weight. Now don't expect any smooth weightlifting techniques here. Their success comes from raw power. Good starting position. Oh my goodness, he's so strong. And no push at all with the legs, he just presses it out. That is awesome. And Natasha is delighted. The overall leader now in an exercise where his big frame could be a disadvantage. There aren't too many world-class weightlifters around who are 6'6" tall. Slowly up. Oh, look at that, he's resting it on his belt. I'm not sure that's allowed, but he's up to halfway now. A big push. Oh, yes! If he learns the technique correctly, the rest are in trouble. And the overall leader looking good for more.
Very interesting technique.
Yeah.
Everybody outside was saying, you can't do that.
Yeah, but see, first you feel like going down again and speed up, but I was thinking, when anyway have it up here, let's continue.
Heinz Ollesch to go at 160 kilos. That's about the weight of a fridge freezer full of food. He pulls it up so quickly, but he was nearly off balance. Now he needs a big push with the legs. Yes, and that is very strong. A great effort from the German. Paul Lepik now with the last of his maximum 5 attempts. He actually failed this a few moments ago. Oh, it's very ragged, but the Canadian is so strong. Now he must lock out. He gets it, but I don't think his right arm looks straight to me. Berend Veneberg giving us the evil eye. This is his last attempt too. Each competitor can choose 5 weights, but as his last successful lift was at 150, if he fails this, he's going to finish down in 5th place. Total concentration. Oh, that looks very painful. He may have ripped a muscle very badly here. Dupuis is last. And that could be the end for Veneberg. We'll have to wait and see. Now, what can Magnus do? It's his last lift too. I wonder if he's going to try and lift it onto the belt again. It wouldn't be allowed in the Olympics, but the rules are relaxed here. Oh, he can't do it this time. He can try it again. It's close. And he's got it. Now, can he take it all the way up to the chest? One more big effort from here. 160 kilos. He can't quite manage it. He couldn't straighten his arms. Gerrit Badenhorst practicing the technique. And Heinz working out all the possible scoring permutations. And here comes Gerrit Badenhorst, warmed up and raring to go. 165 kilos. That's just like two 13-stone men. And it's only his third weight attempted, so he must be confident. Oh, very good technique. So smooth and strong. A very easy press out, and already he's in the lead. Now, what's going on here? Heinz glaring back at Gerrit. Certainly some gamesmanship going on somewhere. Heinz coming onto the platform now with Brindis' girlfriend shouting that this weight is no problem, but it's massive, 170 kilos, and he will need this to go into the lead. There's a lot of tension around here. Oh, well, that technique seems to be popular now, the same as Samuelsson. Oh, he's bending his back far too much. That's dangerous. He can't do it, but he is guaranteed second place and 5 points. The South African has won amidst a bit of tension between the two.
Magnus finally loses an event to the South African Gerrit, but was it experience or anger that helped him win? Either way, he takes 6 points.
So the Bloemfontein bull is beginning to come alive a little bit?
Yeah, thanks to Heinz.
But even that victory means there's a lot of work to do and even more fireworks between Gerrit and Heinz. Samuelsson looks safe in first spot.
The tension's rising along with the mercury. We've come into the deserts for the final event in this heat, the power stairs. Those weights at 200 kilograms have to be carried up the stairs and placed on the top. Now, Heinz Ollesch, the German, is the heaviest man in this heat, but he's still only 150 kilograms. So you can imagine the kind of weight that they're heaving up to the top of these stairs, not just once, but 3 times.
There's Magnus contemplating a place in the final, but what about the other two big contenders?
So, are you two speaking to each other then?
Yeah, no problem. No, I don't want to speak to you. No, me and Heinz are good friends.
But will you remain friends?
Yeah, no, always. No, we're big friends, competitors, competition. That's what is, what it's all about. So.
Well, if those two came to blows, I certainly wouldn't want to be around them. But we have the first two guys, Paul Lepik and Ginaud Dupuis in 5th and 6th places. They've got no chance of making the final, but they have put on a good show. Now, this is a combination of every bit of strength these guys have got. As Philippa said, each one of these weights weighs 200 kilos, that's 440 pounds, and they are going to be absolutely wrecked when they're finished. Paul Lepik sprinting back down the stairs. Dupuis, I think, is going to find this very tough. He's got his first one up, and Paul Lepik going very well. It's 2-1 to the man on the right. Gerrit staying out of the burning heat, and Lepik obviously tiring, but he's well ahead. Dupuis will do well to finish this one. It's the last little bit that's so hard. Now the weight has to go all the way onto the top. And Paul Lepik is just about there. He's done it. 1 minute 30.48. I'm not sure about the man on the other side. I think the stairs have beaten Dupuis. Not too much warming up needed out here for Heinz. And this is where it gets really interesting. Gerrit has to beat Heinz by at least 1 place to make it through to the final. He's actually being accompanied by Regan Vagedal, who was in the last programme, taking the place of Berend Veneberg, who unfortunately is injured. Now, Gerrit is a former world record holder in the deadlift, so he's very strong in pulling that weight off the ground. He's looking very fast and confident. He looks as though he's on schedule, but the two big guns come on next, Ollesch and Samuelsson. Gerrit has been a permanent fixture in the final for quite a few years now, and these guys know he's a class act. Just 4 or 5 more to go. It's very, very fast. But as we've seen, just one slip can cost you dearly. He's got to keep the pressure on. Oh my goodness. He can't get it up that last step. He's losing seconds. He's got to push it all the way on. 54.35. Oh, no more. No more. That's a nice moment. He finishes with that flashing smile, but is it enough? This is a big moment for both men. Heinz must beat Gerrit.
What was my time, by the way?
It was just under 60 seconds. Not good enough?
The next 60 seconds are going to tell us whether he's right. Magnus can afford a little slip-up, but knowing him, he'll want to dominate from start to finish. It's just Heinz in the lead by a whisker. Now, these two guys are big friends and would love to be in the final together. Magnus is actually pulling Ollesch back bit by bit. Gerrit won't have long to wait to see if he's made it.
Oh, I got it. I know it is here.
Look at this, what a great finish to a very competitive heat. Heinz Ollesch seems to have found some extra energy from somewhere, and it looks as though he can win this. It's on, he's got it. Magnus just a shade behind him, and now the celebrations can really begin.
So in the last event, Heinz, Magnus and Gerrit have all scored well, taking first, second and third, but only 2 men can go through to the final.
No! No! Congratulations, huh? Hans deserves it.
A nice moment to finish a tremendous third heat. Magnus and Heinz looking good for the final, but the old warhorse just misses out.
What are we going to do without you in the final?
I've been in for 5 years, so it's time to go home.
Now, you're both through to the final. You missed out last year as well. Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you in the final. Tremendous.
You.
Well done.
Fantastic to see Magnus Samuelsson through to the final in such amazing style. He's really worked hard this year and it's obviously paid off. But Gerrit is out and back to South Africa to face a new challenge, fatherhood. The final is going to look very different this year. Maybe a new generation of strong men are breaking through. Before that, though, one more heat here in the Nevada desert. Make sure you don't miss it. Bye.
You can see the final heat tomorrow on BBC One at 3:10.
I'll be back.